Hey, you kids, get off my lawn. Unless you're mowing it, let's see your mobile phone for initiative. Do as I say. What's up, a frowny face? Go out and play. Just like your parents did. Just like your parents did. As if your parents did.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to First Gen Gamers, the show where two gamers from many, many generations ago. You could tell that I'm like just sharp as a tack here. I can't even remember what the intro was. Hi, I'm Jed. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi, and my co-host Ashley. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm apparently very tongue-tied, which for a podcast, that's a great trait to have. It's been a bit, but we are back. We are getting on a much more regular schedule now, so you can expect to hear us talk about gaming throughout the generations and picking our favorite nominees for the topics that we are discussing each and every episode.
Or least favorite.
Or least favorite, yeah. This isn't always a positive podcast. Gaming is not always a positive space. Shock of shocks.
I'm a hater.
Sometimes I can be too. Sometimes it's just fun to revel in the venom.
Agreed.
But today is not a negative one. What are we talking about today?
Tribute to Couch Co-op. I'm actually really excited for this one. I picked this one, so if you don't like it, suck it. I'm just kidding.
So I was nervous about this one at first, and I will explain why. I grew up an only child. I do have a half sister, but she didn't. I didn't grow up with her. So I grew up by myself. I never had to share my Atari, my Nintendo, my Genesis. I played for me. So I played single player games, and I still play single player games just about exclusively. So I had to sit there and go, okay, what are games that I did play two player on the rare occasions when I would have someone to play with? There were points in this listing that was a struggle for me to assemble, but in going through them, I found a lot more two-player and couch co-op specifically, a lot more games that I loved doing that with than I thought I would.
Yeah, so it's funny. So I have siblings, but my brother wasn't born until I was 9. And then my mom, who just, love you, Mom, but respectfully, this sucked. She'd be like, all right, it's time to let your brother play. Like my 4-year-old brother slobbering and just putting my fucking like Nintendo GameCube controller in his mouth. He'd be playing like Super Mario Sunshine for like 12 hours, which obviously isn't a couch co-op game. But that was my experience with couch co-op. But I did have a lot of friends that I played video games with. So when I wasn't being forced to give up my gameplay for my younger sibling, who I very much love you, Matthew. That's the only way I got to play couch co-op. So I had a lot of really good times with friends playing couch co-op growing up. And I force a lot of my friends into playing games today that they have no desire to play. So shout out to all of them too.
Shout out to the friends who just have to endure some of our geekiness.
Oh, they hate it. I'm trying to get so many people to play now that we talked about 7 Days to Die in the last episode. They finally released 1.0, which really isn't 1.0, but whatever. I'm trying to convince people, oh, there's so much new stuff, even though there's really not that much. And I've had like 3 friends buy it and play it with me for an hour, and they're like, fuck you, bye.
They're like, if we can't get a refund from Steam, we're getting it from you.
It's fine. So forced couch co-op.
All right, so let's kick off our tribute to couch co-op, our favorite couch co-op games throughout the generations, starting with the second generation. What do you got?
Okay, so I picked Burger Time on Intellivision.
Hey, you know what? I mean, sell it for the audience, but you don't have to sell me because I fucking like. If I could turn this camera on my laptop just like about 30 degrees this way, which I'm gesturing in a clockwise gesture for the people who are actually listening. There is a small arcade game about one of those like that big, about like a foot tall, of Burger Time sitting on my shelf over there. I friggin' love Burger Time.
I didn't even know that. I just picked it. So, air high five. So, Burger Time is a culinary adventure, if you will, where you can do it by yourself or you can team up with a friend and try to build the ultimate burger while also dodging annoying shit. So, the co-op mode allows one player to control Chef Peter Pepper, which I love, by the way. And the other person is like distracting the enemies or doing whatever, taking on additional tasks. And I don't know, I just love the game. You're literally just assembling a burger. You've got like bun, patty, lettuce, cheese bun, something like that. But it's so much fun. And I don't know. I haven't thought about this. This game came out way before I was born, but I played it when I was a kid. And I hadn't thought about this game in like 20 something years. And I was like, oh my God, Burger Time. And now I'm like, I have to find an emulator and replay it. It's so good.
It's such an addictive game. I loved that. I still love it. Like I said, I got the little tabletop arcade, and every now and then, if I'm on a conference call and I'm not on camera and I don't have anything to say, like, I'm bored. Burger Time's right over there. Oh,
so good.
Pick.
Anything with burgers, I'm sold, honestly. Who doesn't love a good burger? Video game, edible, whatever.
Yeah.
If there's burgers, I'm in.
So my pick is from the Atari 5200. I picked that version specifically because graphically and gameplay-wise, I think this is the superior version, and that is Joust. If you haven't played Joust, it's a single-screen arcade-style game. There's a bunch of little platforms. There's like 3 up near the top of the screen. There's 3 in the middle of the screen, and then there's a main floor. And you're riding an ostrich type bird, except for it's not an ostrich because it can fly. And you are flying around this arena, and there are enemies who are trying to knock you off. And your job is to fly into them. So you kind of have to come at them from like a 45-degree angle above them and hit them. And then they turn into a little egg, and then you've got to swoop down and collect the egg, because if the egg hatches, the pilot will come back to life and board a new ostrich, and you have to clear the board. In 2-player mode, it's both of you going and trying to clear all of these enemies. And as you go on through the game and you get up in levels, some of the platforms start to disappear. The main floor, the 2 side planks disappear and become lava pits. And then there's these little lava hands that come out and try and grab you out of midair. And there's a pterodactyl for no good reason. Like, this isn't like prehistoric times, but all of a sudden, every now and then, a fucking pterodactyl just comes out and screeches its way across the screen. And it's almost unkillable. You have to be like pixel perfect on the nose to get it. And it's so much fun to just fly around and hit the other birds. I remember playing it a ton with my dad in the arcade game. And then when it came home, I had this obsession, this belief that if you got to level 100, something magical would happen. I spent like a year practicing and playing and getting better and getting better and getting better. Left it on, would play a whole bunch of it, would put it on pause, turn off the TV, go to school, come back, play more, build up. Finally got to level 100. Nothing happens. Nothing special.
I'm not going to lie. I was kind of hoping nothing special happened at level 100. I'm so sorry.
5-6-year-old me was heartbroken. 47-year-old me, yeah,
I love it.
I can look back on it now and go, where did I get the idea that level 100 was magical?
I'm such a bad person.
It's okay. It's long in the rearview mirror. I'm well over the trauma.
So 2 trains of thoughts. The second one is going to be I hope you can help me identify this game. But the entire time that you were talking about that game, I was picturing in my head, imagine if jousting in medieval times actually involved ostriches.
That's cool.
Instead of horses.
That'd be really awesome.
And I'm obviously watching House of Dragons right now, and I'm just picturing like there were some jousting scenes in earlier episodes if they were jousting on ostriches, or forget it, they don't have dragons, they have ostriches. Anyway,
I think if you're gonna find a bird that's like an ostrich, well, that's ostrich sized but is like a dragon, that's a cassowary. Although I don't think you can ride a cassowary because cassowaries will fuck you up, man.
wait, hold on. I'm gonna raise you that. There's a terrifying bird. I meant to say duck, and then I said Doug. Bird I just discovered, not a duck. It's called the shoebill. If you've ever seen that thing, that is a bird to be scared of. Those things are huge, and they have like these crazy, like giant bills, and they're insane. But anyway, straying away from birds. Now, there was a game that I was also thinking of. I wonder if you're going to be able to tell me. It was out on the PlayStation because I was thinking about medieval times. You're this boy with blonde hair and you get kidnapped maybe from your parents' house or something. Vaguely remember. At some point, you end up in a medieval level, but you throughout the entire game, I think you have like a gun that shoots bubbles. No.
That is not sounding familiar.
Does anybody know? All right. Those were the thoughts going through my head when you were describing that game. I'm going to Google it.
That does not sound familiar. And that's going to bug me. All right. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, we're going to move on to the third generation. The NES, the Sega Master System, the Atari 7800. I don't think there's anything else off the top of my head. What do you have for that generation?
The game is Rascal. I found it.
Rascal. I do not know that. I'm going to have to look it up.
It's really, well, I was just Googling it and it was like, oh, it's so bad. And I'm like, I played that game a lot. I really liked it. So I picked Contra for the NES.
I almost picked that.
And it's because I feel like it's like the epitome of a run and gun, but like in the best way. You know, super fast paced. Then you have the iconic Konami code, the Contra code. You know, you're just fighting through waves of creepy, spooky alien shit. Enemy soldiers. Teamwork is super critical. The game is really, really hard. I hate and love that game because I've never beat it. I've never come close. Every time I play the game, I feel like I lose so badly that I get mad. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good game. Got good weapons. I don't know. I just feel like it's a good couch co-op game.
I love Contra. I absolutely love it. It was almost my pick for this one. Only reason that I didn't pick it is that I was trying not to be too duplicative in my genres for each one. And I have a run and gun in the next one.
Okay, that's fair.
So, but otherwise I would have picked Contra because it's fucking Contra. Like it's one of those
iconic
games. Yeah, it's one of those games that stands. It's a monolith. It sells its like it is its own defense attorney and prosecution. It just proves its own case. So excellent pick. I went with Bubble Bobble.
I don't know that game.
Oh no! Oh, Bubble Bobble's so much fun. Okay, so Bubble Bobble is insane. It is this. I don't know how do I even describe it. So it's a single screen game of sorts, but there's like 140 levels. It is ridiculous. Each screen has multiple platforms arranged in all sorts of different arrangements. And you play this little dinosaur, this little cute chibi kind of looking dinosaur. And all the bad guys that are coming at you, you spit bubbles at them and they get encased in the bubble. And then you got to jump on the bubble to pop them. And then they fly away and then they turn into like a piece of fruit or something, like a banana, cherries. And you collect that. And that's points. Yay. Repeat for like 144 levels. but the levels change. There's pits, there's flying enemies, there's all sorts of different things that make each level unique. What really sells the game on the co-op is that you can't get the true ending of the game unless you play 2-player. If you play 1-player, you'll get a certain ending, and it will give you some kind of like, hey, congratulations, you beat the game. Now play it 2-player to see the real ending. Oh yeah, it's sadistic.
The amount of rage that I would have experienced if that happened to me. Oh Lord.
And believe me, for everyone who didn't know and played through it and got to the ending the first time and found that, me included, I've never thrown a controller, but that maybe come damn close.
What? Ever?
Yeah, never. Those things are expensive. I don't want to throw a controller.
Must be something wrong with me. I was looking up the characters while you were talking. I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. I can't. It kind of reminds me of Yoshi though. When you're playing oh my God, Super Smash Bros. And he ingests a character and then he poops him out as an egg. It kind of reminds me of that. Yoshi Babs. I wonder if
it's a very cutesy game, and it's got this
so cute.
Yeah, it's got this cutesy soundtrack that's just this bubbly pop music. It's a chip tune, obviously, but it's everything about it is just adorable. And yes, I'm a 47-year-old man saying that a game that is adorable and looks like cuddly stuffed animals is a fun game. Yeah, it's a damn fun game.
It's meant to distract you from the rage that you feel when you play it single player.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll skip ahead. This isn't a game that I actually picked, but for the Dreamcast, one of the games I was considering was Pen Tri. I don't know if it's called Triathlon or if they play on words Triathlon. I always forget. But that was like one of my favorite games for the Dreamcast. And you played like these really cute little characters and you'd go through these levels. It's like a racing game. And the game was so cute. And you wouldn't think that it would be any good, but it was so good. They had like a spooky level. That was my favorite. So I didn't pick it, but this game kind of reminds me of that. Like, the game can be really cute and also be really good.
Yeah, I think we're going off on a short sidebar here. Cute games really, I think, almost have to put in a little more work, because you're going to look at them and go, oh, that's cute. That's all there is, isn't it? And then something like Bubble Bobble, Super Mario World, or Chibi Robo, or name a cutesy game where you suddenly go, holy shit, this thing's got depth. A lot of depth.
The little chows in the Chow Garden in Sonic.
Right.
Oh my God, they were so cute.
So weird tangent.
Sidetracked, sorry.
Yeah, weird tangent. All right, let's go to the next generation. 4th gen. That's the 16-bit era.
Street Fighter 2 for the SNES. I feel like I don't even have to say anything, but I wrote some stuff up. So what I wrote is Street Fighter 2, it's that game that put fighting games on the map. So you have couch co-op, you have head-to-head mode where you and a friend can duke it out as your favorite characters. I really liked this game because I was a little shit and I was a kid. I didn't really know. I was so young when this game came out. And I also played it on, which Street Fighter came out for the PlayStation? I'm getting ahead of myself, but that was the one I played more because I was a little bit older. I was like 5.
The original PlayStation, I think it was one of the Street Fighter alphas.
Yeah. So I would always pick Dalsim, who's the character. He's like the character that does yoga with the long arms and legs. And I would pick him because I was so young and I couldn't play. And I would just stand all the way to the edge and just do like the long arm attack and like the long leg attack. Because it's like, I couldn't really play that well. But the game was great. You have a bunch of special attacks that you can do. And then I had to put something about this in it. So what I wrote was, who doesn't love the sound of Hadouken echoing through a room?
I honestly, I don't know why I do it, but sometimes I will, you get up to those, like the sliding doors at the grocery store. You step on the little pad and the door moves to the left. There's sometimes when I'm just feeling like completely immature, I will Hadouken the door open.
See, that's where you and I vary. I'll pretend like I'm a Jedi. And I'll do a little
Sometimes I'll do that too, but
hand wave. Little hand wave.
This is not the door you're looking for.
Everything in my life goes back to Star Wars. It's crazy.
I respect that. I mean, look at my name. I was born 2 days after the first one. Episode 4 debuted. Useless information. And yeah, as for your pick, it's Street Fighter 2. Like, even more than Contra. What the hell? I mean, I can't knock that pick at all.
Should we discuss the Street Fighter movie?
Do we have to?
With JCVD? Jean-Claude Van Damme? I don't care what anybody says. I love movies like that. Like, okay, I'll say this. It wasn't as bad as the Mortal Kombat movie. I'm probably going to get attacked for that, but the Mortal Kombat movie was the worst thing I've ever seen. At least Street Fighter was kind of cool.
I haven't watched the Street Fighter movie since it came out. I kind of want to. Just because I think now I know that it's not. I won't go in expecting it to be married to the game anymore. We were all expecting a 1-to-1 translation of the game, and it is not even remotely that. So I can go into it, I think, now and just appreciate for the campy, batshit insane,
yeah,
B-movie corniness that it is.
Which I asked you this episodes ago, but have you watched the Fallout show yet? That's the one time when a movie or a show based on a video game has actually made me happy. It's different, but oh my God. And you haven't, have you?
I have not yet.
Jed, it is so fucking good. Like, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. It is phenomenal. Like, it will surpass your expectations far more than you expect it to if you were to suspect that it were to exceed your expectations. You got to watch it. I'm telling you.
I will try to get it started. The one obstacle is that the wife and I are already watching 2 different shows. And I'm trying to watch Doctor Who on the side, like the classic Doctor Who, which is just.
Haven't you already seen Doctor Who?
I've seen all of the modern era, and I've seen the 4th and 5th Doctors. I'm starting back at the beginning at the first.
Just watch David Tennant. That's it, and then you're good. Then just move on.
I've seen all that. Yeah, I've seen everything from the night. I love David Tennant.
Me too. You gotta watch the follow. I'm telling you right now, it is so good.
I will try to get it started before the next episode. I will try.
Oh my God, it's so good. You're missing out. And they also canceled Halo, by the way. They canceled the Halo show.
Is there anyone crying about that?
I can't watch things based on video. Like, their Borderlands, I think I've mentioned a few times, is one of my favorite video games of all time, the original. I mean, I love the entire series, except for I'm not going to acknowledge Tiny Tina. That I loved her as a character, but that game pissed me off to no end. But anyway, they're making a movie, and I'm like, why do they have to destroy everything that I love? And they're making a BioShock, which is another one of my favorite video games of all. That is my favorite after Mass Effect, my favorite video game of all time. They're making a show on that. And I'm like, wow, I can't wait until they shit on everything that I love. But Fallout, spectacular.
I've seen the trailer for the Borderlands movie.
I have no faith. I have no faith.
I will say this. It looks like Borderlands. I have not played Borderlands. It's not my kind of game, but I've seen enough of it in video to know that it looks like Borderlands. But it also just looks really irritating.
Are you hating on the cell shading? Because it's really cool, okay?
No. I'm saying that the movie looks really irritating. The movie just looks...
I know. I just wish they'd leave it alone.
And Cate Blanchett, why are you in this fucking movie? You're a great actress. Why are you in the Borderlands movie?
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I don't even think they have somebody playing Mordecai in it. If I'm not wrong, Mordecai is not even a character in it, he was my favorite character. He was in Borderlands 1. So I don't know. Anyway, we're getting on a tangent, but it's all related to video games, so it's okay.
It is. All right. Street Fighter. That's
your choice.
Street Fighter. Yeah. My choice is Metal Slug from the Neo Geo.
Ooh.
This would be the run and gun that I was talking about. It is Contra on steroids. It is someone looked at Contra and said, this game is not big enough, bright enough, manly enough, not enough bullets. It's like, what if Contra was fed through a bottle of Axe body spray and Rockstar energy drink? It's just it's constant mayhem, and it's just fun. Like, you get a buddy, and it's just the two of you running through, just like Contra, shooting in every friggin' direction. The graphics are bigger and brighter and bolder, and the action's faster, and it's bigger Contra. That's the best way I can put it.
Men like to make things manly.
Yes. I like it when it's turned up to a ridiculous level. Like, I don't, it's not, it's
so like Bulletstorm.
I've never played that, but like the satire, like I want if it's going to do that whole macho manly thing, take it to the point of satire.
Bulletstorm.
Just make it such an obvious taking the piss out of the situation. And that's Metal Slug. It is just, it's taking the piss out of it. So, next gen, 5th gen.
I picked a game that was in my last one, but I'm going to advocate for it differently. So Mario Kart 64, which is still fucking infuriating, but I still love it as a game. So obviously they took the kart racing formula and perfected it. It's chaotic, but it's fun. Anything can happen. I feel like everything happens. I think the tracks are iconic. You have Bowser's Castle, Rainbow Road. And I feel like there's nothing like driving off Rainbow Road so many times that it makes you want to emulate that in real life and actually get in your car and drive off a road. Anyway, so yeah, you can play I think up to 4 players, but you can also play in split screen mode. And it's just chaotic. You have shells, banana peels, you're trying to dodge, whatever. So, it's just a way to experience pure joy while you're playing with your friends, or rage that could result in murdering all of your friends. Plus drunk driving. So I talked about this last time. Now that I am an adult over the age of 21, this is the drunk driving that I participate in. I love to set up my N64 with friends, and we drink a lot and we play it in 64. Or, oh my God, Jesus Christ, Mario Kart 64. And you're even worse. It's like, I can't drive on Rainbow Road when I'm sober, let alone if I've had a drink or two. Forget it. I'm veering off the side of the road like every 2 seconds. It makes it a lot more fun if you don't take it seriously. So added bonus.
I did not, spoiler for the entire list, I do not have a Mario Kart game on here. Not because I don't like Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. I have Mario Kart on the Wii. My son has Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch, which I have apparently permanently borrowed. It's impossible not to like Mario Kart. But if I play it with another person, there's always going to be that moment where you turn next to him and go, if you throw one more blue shell at me, I'm going to stick this controller so far up your ass. Like, it's so, like, just same reason why I don't have a Mario Party game on here, because Mario Party is an incitement to violence. But fantastic games. My pick for this is Twisted Metal 2.
I love Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal has so many memories for me of hanging with my boys and just play. I mean, the game is insanely difficult if you don't turn on cheats. Like, it is punishingly hard.
I think I still own it, by the way. I think I have the original copy in my drawer right now.
Nice. We would play, though, for countless hours. We turn on God mode. We turn on the boss. You could unlock the boss character Minion, if I remember correctly, and we would go through the game and just tear shit up. And you could play. You could play against each other, but you could team up and just try and clear the battle arena in every level. And we would spend countless hours roaming around the areas. Like, I remember Paris, finding the secret hallways in the building that can let you jump into the
through
Empire
the Eiffel
State
Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, not Empire. Yeah, Eiffel Tower. Thank you. It is carnage and stupid and fun, and I love that. It's, like I said, I have so many memories tied to it, so it's very much a sentimental pick.
What character did you play with a lot?
If we weren't cheating and using and unlocking the final boss, probably the monster truck. I can't think of his name.
The monster truck? Oh, great. No, that's like an actual monster truck.
Yeah. I can't think of the character's name right now. I liked him because your special just meant driving over someone rather than having a stock of ammunition. So
Yeah.
it was a tactical choice. I also did have a soft spot for, I think his name was Axel. He was the guy.
Yeah, the wheels.
Yep.
My go-to is Mr. Grimm or Sweet Tooth, just because Sweet Tooth creeped me out. But Mr. Grimm was like my go-to all the time. Like, I did sometimes use Axel.
Was Mr. Grimm the guy in the motorcycle?
Yeah, with threw like the skull heads. Oh my god! I just checked. I'm gonna have to bring out. I have they made like two, right? Backwards compatible PlayStation 3s. They made a 60 and an 80 gig, and I think the 80 gig for USB was completely backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So I have that. So I have all of my, like, I have like the original Silent Hill. I have like Metal Gear, and I just checked and I still have Twisted Metal 2. So I was like, ooh, I got to get that. I got to get that out and play it now that you're talking about it. This is going to be like a whole thing. Setting it up with a modern TV is a nightmare.
It sets up, well, okay, I don't know about the first generation of the PS3s, but the PS3 Slim is nice and easy. So I never had the original one. I didn't get it until the Slim was out, but yeah. But the Slim is still backwards compatible with the one, and I do have Twisted Metal 2 on it.
Is it completely backwards compatible?
With PS1 games, yes. It is not backwards compatible with PS2 games.
Oh, okay.
They took that out when they did the console redesign from the original to the Slim.
Yeah, I think it's just the 80 gig 4 USB one, but I still have I have Half-Life and Fatal Frame and stuff. So I'm like, I need to keep. So I've kept it because I'm like, I still like to play those games from time to time. But man, that just took me way back. Whew. I love Twisted Metal 2. It was a good choice.
All right, well, let's talk about the next choice, 6th generation. What do we have?
I picked House of the Dead 2 on the Dreamcast.
Ooh.
I love that game. I used to play it with my best friend all the time, and it was just great and really creepy. It sucked if you died and you didn't have any lives left. You had to go all the way back to the beginning, but I'll just never forget. I have to Google it. I don't remember. So you have like all of these bosses at the end of every level, but there was like this little flying thing who was always in every level, like encouraging the bosses. And he was so creepy. The game was just so good. And it played like an arcade game on the Dreamcast, which I also thought was really cool. It was like, when you would die, there was like the countdown, like continue. Anyway, I loved it. I loved it. Super hard. Really impossible, but truly played like an arcade game. Like you had like the little cursors on the screen and so good. Oh, so good.
As gimmicky as those light gun games can be, I love them. I'm a sucker for them because who doesn't love holding the lime green gun in their hand? And
no, I played on the controller. Like, yeah, I played on. Yeah, well, I was like a kid. I was like I was probably 9, 8 when this game came out. So I actually ended up like making my dad, who shout out to my dad, buy it. And I had to like hide it when I was like at my mom's, which is all the time. And then, both of our parents, me and my friend were born in another country. So our moms were super strict. So we had to sneak it and wait till they went to bed and then we would play it. But if we ever tried to buy a fake gun, forget it. So we play with the controller, which made it even freaking harder. But I remember there was like this one Coliseum level where the guy had a giant chainsaw. He almost kind of reminded me of Pyramid Head, which it's not the same. But I've played thousands of video games in my life, and I remember a lot of them, but so few of them like stick with me where I can like actually imagine and remember gameplay. And I remember so much gameplay from this game, and it was just such a fond memory of my childhood, getting terrified playing this game at night. The end. I think the end boss is like a magician and he can just like transform and stuff. And we never beat it. We'd get our asses handed to us every time, but it was just so much fun. And I love this game. Love it.
Talking about your childhood playing it and not having the light gun and having to use the controller reminds me of so back on the NES, there was a game that was an arcade conversion of a game called Operation Wolf. And that was a light gun game in the arcade. And it was not just a light gun, it was an Uzi, and it was mounted to the console. So you couldn't like pick it up and free hold it and free aim. It was stuck on it like a joystick, and it was on a central pivot. So you could rake it back and forth and move it up and down. In the arcade, it was amazing. It was great fun. On the home version, they don't have an Uzi controller, and I don't recall that the game was compatible with the NES Zapper, which meant you had to play it with the controller. Damn, that game was brutal with the controller. So I sympathize with you having to play House of the Dead with. I mean, even worse, because Operation Wolf is a slow game. It's just kind of this slow tracking on rails to the right. Here comes an enemy, he pops up, shoot him. Wait a couple seconds. Here's one. House of the Dead is frantic.
Oh my God, it's chaotic. And I think that it says a lot about who I am today. I've always just been like a chaotic, scary person. So I like chaotic, scary games. But I did get to play it as an adult. There's an arcade bar in my city, which is awesome because they have like the X-Men arcade game, which is, I could play that for hours. But I got to play it. They took it away, which sucks. But I got to play it with guns finally. And I was like, I kind of like it more with the controller. To be fair, there are a lot of opportunities throughout the game, if I remember correctly, where you can save a civilian and then that'll give you like a one up or something else. But to be fair, it was like 50-50. I'm killing the civilian or I'm saving them because they're so close to the enemy. Like the enemy's holding them and it's like a small margin where it's like, so 50% of the time I'd kill them, trauma, or I'd save them and then, I got an extra life. But, man, that game, so good. I'll argue that till death.
I gotta ask before we move on to my pick, the X-Men arcade game. Are we talking the beat 'em up?
What do you mean?
Like, is it a side-scrolling game where you're just beating up all enemy after enemy after enemy?
Yeah, and you're just going through level after level after level. You have like the Juggernaut. I'm pretty sure it's from where the meme "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" originated. Yeah, the side-scroller, like the original X-Men arcade game.
First time you see Magneto, I believe he says, "Welcome to die."
Yeah. I love everything about it. I wish games were still like that today, to be honest. I'm not going to lie.
I was able to buy that in the short window that it was available for the PlayStation 3. I
have it on Xbox 360, yeah.
And then they delisted it. I'm like, yes, that makes my PS3 special.
I got that in Castle Crashers in one day, and I was like, wow, I can now hibernate for like 7 years, and I never have to leave my house.
Yep. All right, so my pick for this generation, this game was, for the longest time, it was the only game I had for the PlayStation 2 because the PlayStation 2, when it launched, had a spectacularly mediocre library. And I don't remember a lot of games coming out in the immediate aftermath. That game is Tekken Tag Tournament. For much of the same reason that Street Fighter needs no defense, Tekken doesn't really need much of a defense either. It's one of the most longest lasting, most successful 3D fighting game franchises in video games. And the tag tournament version of it, being able to have that second player and tag out, oh shit, my life is running out. Tag, bring in the next, your buddy takes over. It was just dumb fun. I'm horrible at fighting games. I don't know, none of my friends, no one I've ever known has been good at fighting games, but it didn't matter because Tekken is a wonderful button mashing kind of game too. Like, you don't need skill to be passable at Tekken.
I think that you like Tekken Tag Tournament for boobies. Because if I remember correctly, is it Tekken Tag Tournament or Tekken Tag Tournament 2? There were a lot of boobies, and there was like a whole swimsuit version of that game. And I remember one time I fell boobies down playing in that game, and I bounced, and I was like, wow, what an amazing defense mechanism these boobies are.
Are you sure that it wasn't a Dead or Alive game? Because that game's got the slider in the option where you can increase and decrease the bust size.
Definitely a tag tournament. I'm going to see if it's one or two, but there's like a whole swimsuit sector of that game. I'm going to Google it. Watch.
That's got to be 2 then. I do not remember that in Tekken Tag 1. If it existed, okay, fair enough. But I don't recall that.
It's 2.
Is it 2?
It's still Tekken. Every time I think about Tekken, I think of boobies. Which isn't it's not a bad thing. Let's be real. It's fine.
Fair enough. That may be the first time I've ever heard that sentence uttered.
Every time I think about Tekken, I think of boobies. Same thing with Duke Nukem. I think of boobies and aliens and bubblegum.
Duke Nukem and boobs. You totally see the connective tissue there. If it didn't have boobs, it wouldn't be a Duke Nukem game. It would be Doom.
Yes.
All right. Let's
taking it to a dark place.
A dark boob-filled place. Moving on to the next generation, 7th generation. That's our 360 Wii PlayStation 3 era. What do you got?
There are no boobies. Sorry, everybody. I picked Left 4 Dead.
Oh, there definitely is not boobies there.
No. I love zombie games. I talk about 7 Days to Die every time I play this game. I love Left 4 Dead. I love Left 4 Dead 2, not as much as 1. I will say that I think the game is fucking impossible, even on the easiest difficulty. I think it's kind of like Back 4 Blood. You need like a full squad of good players, because if you try to play with a fucking whatever it's called, oh my god, what is the name? Like a artificial character, whatever.
Oh, AI.
I was going to call it AI, and I'm like, is it called AI? An AI character. They're absolute shit. Probably the worst, in my opinion, that I've ever experienced. You could be actively shooting at a zombie, and they will walk in front of you, and they will die every time. They require saving nonstop. It's just, if I was playing by myself, or if I was playing with like one person, I'd be like, we should just kill them, because then we can take all the gear and just use it on ourselves. And then that's that, because they're just so atrocious. But I do love the game, especially couch co-op. It's the same couch co-op, or if you were to play it like multiplayer. But I just love it. You have the different levels. You go through at the end. You have to get rescued. Whatever you have to do to facilitate the rescue, it's going to cause like a shit ton of hordes. And you have to fight through those hordes and wait for the rescue to come. It's like a classic. Same thing with the World War Z game. But just the AI in the game is so bad that if you were to try to play it with just one person, you really need like a fully loaded team in order to accomplish it. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that have accomplished it, but I am like very slightly above average. So I can't carry the team. But phenomenal game. I love it. I love games where you can play the full game how it's supposed to be played. Co-op, couch co-op, online co-op, and single player. I know it's a lot for game developers, but I love games like that.
I would agree with that. It does provide a richer experience. Like the single player game, you get the full story, but then you can have someone with you and the two of you carry through it together. There was a game that I could have picked for this generation that I didn't, that is very similar in mindset to that, of having that same, you get the single player experience, but you could also have a multiplayer couch co-op experience, which would be Diablo 3. I love Diablo 3. I've platinumed it on PlayStation. I've exhausted everything there is to do in that game, and I'm still playing it just because I'm addicted to it. But yeah, 100% agree with that mentality. My pick for this generation, though, is in the complete opposite direction of yours. It is the most innocent, sweet game, but still no boobies. Rock Band. I love Rock Band. You're muted, by the way.
I know. Sorry, I wasn't trying to talk over you. I have like very visceral reactions, so I was trying to mute myself.
Oh, that's okay. You can have visceral reactions.
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, it's like Rock
gosh,
Band.
Yeah. But yeah, we bought that game and I gravitated towards guitar. My wife gravitated towards drums. We would have friends come over and play. There was one New Year's Eve where we attempted the ultimate set list, which is 82 songs, no pausing, one session, one straight playthrough. We did not succeed. It took too damn long, and our accompaniment was starting to fall asleep. And of course, it escalates from the easiest to the hardest. So your first song in the 82 set playlist is like Blink 182 or something very simple, pop punky, the Bangles or something. The last 2 or 3 songs are like Painkiller by Judas Priest, Cherub Rock by the Smashing Pumpkins, and I don't recall, it might have been
Tom Sawyer.
That might have been somewhere.
Come on. Run to the Hills.
That was definitely up there. Just insanely difficult games with complicated fretwork and rapid fire guitar. The drumming was either really fast or it was really jazz style. Vocal runs that just go all over the damn place, and I can't sing, so I didn't even bother trying. But it's just, I mean, it's Rock Band. Like, you get to live out your dream of being a musician without having any actual talent and not requiring any skill.
I wish I kept my drums so bad. I loved it. And I loved Guitar Hero.
We still have all of it. We still have all the pieces in the basement.
Here's how I got my job at GameStop. So I had to play Through the Fire and Flames. I worked at GameStop like 3 different times. I worked at TB Games, then I quit. When I went to, how old was I? 15, 16? I talked a lot of shit about how good I was at Guitar Hero, and they were like, okay, play Through the Fire and Flames on Expert. And I was like, I could do it. And they didn't believe me, and I played it on Expert. And then they were like, okay, you're hired. To be fair, he knew my stepdad. But still, I played it, and I won. I had to play on they had the black guitar that kind of looked like a Gibson. I had to play on the smaller white guitar. That was like the only guitar I could play it on, because I felt like the strummer on the Gibson wasn't like as clicky and responsive enough. So I had to play on that white guitar that came out with Guitar Hero 2, I think. But I don't know if I could do it today. I haven't touched Guitar Hero in years, but I used to be able to play Through the Fire and Flames on Expert and like actually beat it. Yeah, cool. It got me nowhere in life, but hey, yeah. There you go.
That's all right. My parents thought that getting me an Intellivision would help with hand-eye coordination.
There's science actually that proves that video games do help with hand-eye coordination. Just FYI, like actual fact-based.
What? But they thought it would they thought it would translate into something like, oh, he'll have great hand-eye coordination. He could be like an eye surgeon or a concert pianist. No. No one is mastering Super Mario Brothers and turning into a cardiologist because of it. Like,
no, those people don't do anything fun in their lives ever. So,
yeah. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but thanks for the Intellivision anyway. All right, 8th gen. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the last 2 Nintendo consoles. You're chomping at the bit. What do you got?
Borderlands 3 and also the Handsome Collection, which had 2 in the pre-sequel. I fucking love Borderlands. I don't give a shit what you say, Jed. I don't give a shit what you say, Jed. Okay? Okay?
I'm not criticizing Borderlands. I didn't say anything bad.
Okay? First of all, the cell shading, baller. So actually, funny story. When I first played Borderlands, I was a little bit late to the game. I worked at GameStop. My ex also worked at GameStop, and he kept trying to get me to play it. And I played it before, and I was like, "This is fucking stupid. What is this like graphic style?" And I thought the cell shading was dumb. Then we broke up, and then I was like, "All right, let me try this again on my own, like for myself." I played it. I didn't like it again at first, but I gave it like 2 hours, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I actually really like this game. I love I love like role playing games, like kind of like combined shooters. Like I just kind of like Mass Effect where you pick like a character class, you can advance it. It's story based, but you can also run around and fuck shit up. Like I love it. That and survival games give me more. But I loved Borderlands 3. Kind of sad that Mordecai was only in Borderlands 1. But if I'm talking about the Handsome Collection, which is based on Handsome Jack, he was in Borderlands 2. I think this is a strong opinion, but I will fight this opinion to the death. Do you hear me? Everybody listening? Okay, I'll fight it to the death. Time and place. Handsome Jack is the best video game antagonist of all time, and you cannot tell me otherwise. He is so fucking funny. The game won a ton of awards because of him. Dude, there is a mission where he has you like go to this really pretty place. It's like on a cliff, and then he tells you to kill yourself, and that's the mission. You have to jump off and kill yourself. Dude, he is so funny. He buys he has like a diamond horse called Butt Stallion. I never laughed so. See, thank you. You're laughing. I'm telling you, he is brilliant. I'm telling you, Borderlands is brilliant. And when they brought Handsome Jack on, I was like, holy fucking shit. It's giving the game so much life. I cannot say enough about it. I love Borderlands except for Tiny Tina. I don't dislike it. It was fun. I played it, but whatever. With the Borderlands franchise, you got to try it. It's really good. You got to give it a chance. The psychos are so funny. Like they just say the most out of pocket shit, but specifically Handsome Jack, again, best video game antagonist of all time. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Like there was a part where he was making fun of the guy that took acid and looked at the rainbows and he was like, oh, double rainbow all the way. There's this whole cutscene where Jack's doing that. He's like, oh, double rainbow. I'm telling you, it is hilarious. It's quirky. It's fun. It's badass. There's like badass boss fights. There's really cool loot. They get so in depth with their weapon system. Like there's so many different kinds of weapons. Like you have Hyperion, Maliwan. People that play the game will know. And there's just so many different kinds of cool guns and customizations. I could go on and on. And for somebody like me, where I don't like a linear game, I like to have like an open, here's a shit ton of main quests, a bunch of side quests, and then other things that you can do, like that have nothing to do with quests. I love games like that, but they're also my worst enemy because I'm a completionist. So I will spend my entire life finishing a game 100%. But the storyline's great. I'm going on a tangent. I could talk about Borderlands until the day I die. I don't know. I just love it. And so Borderlands 3 and the Handsome Collection, specifically Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Collection, which technically came out on the 360, but the Handsome Collection came out on the 1. So I am nestling that in.
Fair enough. You are very enthusiastic about Borderlands.
You should hear me talk about Mass Effect. It's even worse.
She's like, damn right I am. I'm sure someday Mass Effect will come up in something positive. Like, I'm sure at that point you will have your tangent moment. And there are games that I know that I will definitely have that type of tangent moment. And hey, that's what gaming is about loving those things and just being like so irrationally in love with them and just going off. So I have not played a Borderlands game. I have nothing to, I could not possibly nitpick, and I wouldn't dare nitpick someone who loved a game that much. That would be reckless.
If I get a butt stallion tattoo, will you play Borderlands? Anyone, your pick. I will do it. I will get a butt stallion tattoo.
I do not want you to get a butt stallion tattoo.
I would do that on my own. I would do that on my own accord because that's the kind of person I am.
If you were to do that of your own accord, regardless of that, I would give Borderlands a try.
All right, I'm going to get a butt stallion tattoo. Give me like 2 months. I'm not even kidding. I'm going to fucking do it. I'm
afraid that you will. I'm afraid you're going to come on. You're going to be like, check out my deltoid butt stallion tattoo.
I'm going to do it because it's a good tattoo idea, but I also want to peer pressure you. So it's a double win. Double rainbow all the way.
What have I gotten myself into? All right, my pick, 8th generation. My game it's available on all the systems as far as I know. This one's a bit of a throwback. It's a new game, but it is a throwback. It is Streets of Rage 4. It is the long removed sequel to the Streets of Rage series from the Sega Genesis, which were a series of side-scrolling beat-em-ups in the vein of Double Dragon and Final Fight, Golden Axe minus weapons. A little indie developer contacted Sega because, for the past 10, 15 years, Sega seems to think that they only have Yakuza and Sonic. So this developer contacted Sega and said, hey, you're not doing anything with Streets of Rage. Could we make a 4th game? And they were like, yeah, cool, no problem. Yeah, we'll license you the rights. You have fun with that. And they proceeded to turn in the most beautiful, nuanced love letter to side-scrolling beat-em-ups. The fighting mechanics in the game are really everything, but I mean, just starting with the fighting mechanics are the culmination of developers who look back on the best elements of this genre and know what works and what doesn't, and now have the technical capabilities to make all of it work and to refine it. Same thing with the graphics, same thing with the soundtrack, which is wonderful. Same thing, everything about the game is the ability to have 20, 25 years of experience and history behind them and go, that worked, that didn't. We can refine that and make it work. Let's put the best possible package together, and here it is. You can play as all the new characters. Well, not really new characters. It's almost all returning characters, but you could play as the new versions of the characters because it does pick up the story from 3. You could play as the characters from part 3. They're actual sprite models. It has the sprite models from part 2. It has the sprite models from part 1. It is literally the best of. And having a friend play with you, going through, I think there's like 12 different levels, just beating the crap out of all the enemies, beating the crap out of the bosses. It's a throwback to a genre that doesn't get much love anymore, and it's just such a well done throwback. It just tickles that 14-year-old boy in me. that I love.
I'm sorry I took that line the wrong way.
The minute I said it, I went, that probably could have been worded better.
I bet
well,
I bet it does. I'm
off
sorry.
the cuff one. It's all right. That's what you get for going off the cuff. Set myself up for that one. All right. 9th generation, the current gen.
Oh shit, I didn't know we were still doing that.
Well, if you don't have anything, that's
no,
fine.
I could think of one, but you go first. Let me think.
Okay. It took a while because I still don't have a whole lot of games for this generation, despite having a PS5. But I did manage to think of one, and that is it's a remaster, but they did add extra content, so technically it counts. It is We Love Katamari Reroll and Royal Reverie.
Oh, I love all the Katamari games. What a good pick.
Katamari injected into my veins. I fucking adore Katamari. It is unapologetically one of my favorite franchises of all time. If you've never played a Katamari game, it is an experience. You are, I can't even encapsulate the plot because it's batshit nuts, but you are the Prince of Space and you're this tiny little guy. I mean, really, really tiny. And your dad is the king of all cosmos. And for
He's
reasons, he's an absolute, yeah, a dick and a weird dick too. Like, he is certifiably insane. He's got something wrong with him. But in a hilarious way, which, shouldn't be, but it is, because this movie or this game has a very, very specific sense of humor to it. And your dad always commissions you for reasons beyond understanding. You have to take a ball, which is a Katamari, and you have to roll it across the earth, picking things up, and the things stick to the ball, and the levels vary in purpose. You have to get it up to this big. You have to get it up. You have to roll up this many of this kind of item. There's all sorts of different goals. There's one there's a campfire, and you have to roll up a whole bunch of things that perpetuate the fire, and then you have to go and light the bonfire. There's all sorts of different twists on it. So it's kind of a puzzle game, but it's a dorky puzzle game.
You're leaving out the best parts about how you can roll up like people, whales. Like, it's hilarious. And they're like, oh my God. Like, it's so bizarre. But great.
Yeah. Literally everything you can possibly think of: cars, dogs, farm equipment, fish, trees. When you get to the final level, the roll up the entire planet, you're rolling up stuff like the Taj Mahal and the Hollywood sign and Ultraman and Godzilla and a volcano and entire continents. Anyway, it's nuts. It's fucking nuts. And if you play it 2-player, this is the ultimate game. Like, this episode is tribute to couch co-op. This game takes the word co-op literally, because the two of you control the one character. You have to work together, controlling, like, one person is like controlling the left side and one person's controlling the right side. And the two of you have to work in sequence to get the ball to move where you want it to go and pick up the things that you need to pick up. It's maddening. It is really difficult, and it really kind of requires two people who are good at the game in the first place to then unwire their brains and rewire it to think I'm only controlling half of it. But just for the charm of the game alone, Katamari is unparalleled silliness.
I agree. And that's why I love the game.
My heart jumped. Like, I didn't even know that it had come out. And I I was in the PlayStation store one day and I'm scrolling through it, and all of a sudden I see Wheel of Katamari Reroll. I'm like, they remastered it? When did they do that? Why didn't anybody tell? How is this not news? I think I bought it within the week because I had to have, because it's Katamari, and just give me more of that.
I'm going to buy it now.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
It's still my turn. I think I talked about this in the last one, but that's okay. I'm going to say Fallout 76 just because I feel like now that the game isn't like riddled with bugs, what I really like about it is you can play the game the same exact way that you play solo with somebody else. You guys could be in two different places at the same time doing two different missions. You can set up your bases, your base camps in two separate locations, or you can play the game, completely together, enter locations together. And it's just a lot of fun. It's like a really in-depth Fallout game. And so, I don't know. It's really fun. Also, if you ever want to do any of the events and stuff like that, it's pretty impossible to do them by yourself because they're really difficult. So I think it's a really great, great game now that they've fixed it. I've put a lot of hours into it recently. Or I would say now 7 Days to Die, now that they just released as of 2 days ago. It was in like Alpha 15 and they just released 1.0 on the Xbox, although I can't find anybody to play with on the PC or the Xbox. So I'd say one of those two. They're great. They're both great. One's a survival and one's not, but two great games.
She's going to find a way to put 7 Days to Die in every episode.
I lied. You can't play couch co-op anymore with 7 Days to Die. They got rid of it, so that doesn't even count. It was couch co-op before they released the new edition. Now with the new edition, I believe it's only on Xbox Live, so I'm lying to you.
How dare you?
Actually, I don't even think Fallout is couch co-op. I think that's just online too. I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore. I wasn't prepared for a new gen.
To be fair, I added it last minute. It was like something I thought of a day or two ago because we've been doing current gen in the past few episodes. So I thought I better be prepared just in case she has something. And then I over-prepared. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I can't think of one off the top of my head, and I'm just like, I have no fucking clue.
This generation has not been good for it. Like,
Don't starve. Don't starve. Don't starve to death. Don't starve. Don't starve too. Those are really good ones. Couch co-op that are available on the new consoles. They came out on the.
This generation's been difficult with that. Like, I don't know. It just feels like the libraries of the new consoles are still finding their footing, even though they've been out 4 years. So,
yeah.
This is it's an awkward generation.
Yeah, I don't really know. I can't think of any like off the top of my head, to be honest.
Neither can I, other than, like I said, I stumbled on that one. And even then, it's a remaster. So it's not like it's 100% a PlayStation 5 game. It just happens to be on it. So
yeah.
But we're ending strong, damn it.
Yeah, whatever. I fumbled. But to be fair, I didn't think that we were picking 9th gen, so.
That's all right. Well, that is our episode, everyone. If you agree with our picks, if you disagree with our picks, if you think that we're complete jackasses, which I usually am, you can contact us. You can contact us several ways.
I don't want to hear it.
No, you don't?
No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck the audience. No. We love our audience. But you can contact us. I need to look up real quick what our social medias are because we actually have social medias now. We have the email firstgengamerspod@gmail.com. You can write to us there. We would love to hear from you if you've got topic ideas. If you want to argue with us and say that our picks were absolute horseshit, we will talk about it on the air before we get to our stuff. So please interact. We've got an Instagram. The handle is for.
Oh, I didn't know if you had it. Sorry, go ahead.
I had to bring up my notes. First Gen Gamers Pod. I have no idea what we're going to post on there, but something.
Pictures of me. I'm just kidding. Absolutely not.
We're working on what we're going to do with the Instagram. It's a work in progress. But we're going to get some stuff on there soon. So follow us on there. Comment on what we post. Yeah, I lost the end of that sentence there.
I'll figure it out. We were talking about it earlier. I've got some ideas for social media, so don't worry.
Yeah. You can follow
we have
me
a follower.
We have a follower?
Who's not me. Charles O'Donnell. Hello, Charles. Thank you for following us. You're the best. Love you so much.
Oh, I know who that is. Okay, so I do have to mention before I finish any plugging that I've got to do. Actually, this is technically a plug. So I was just recently on a podcast. I was on Chuck's Cantina. Charles O'Donnell is the host of Chuck's Cantina. It was a wonderful experience. We talked about video games and what we think the future of the MCU might be, and professional wrestling. And we had stupid stories that we just laughed about. I mean, I think 30% of the podcast was just laughter because we were just, it was two people screwing around. But it was a wonderful experience. Please go and listen to it. Chuck is a great host. It was wonderful to be on. So give him a listen. Yeah. And he's available on all of the standard podcast platforms, your iTunes and do people still use iTunes? Did I just age myself?
Apple Podcasts. Yeah, they have a native podcast app.
Thank you. My brain, I know that, and my brain just said iTunes. But yeah, Apple and Amazon and Spotify and all the other ones, just like us, where you can find us. So go listen to that. And thank you, Charles, for following our Instagram. The first, but not the last. And you can follow me on Blue Sky at Streets of Jed. I'm also on Discord, same name. If you want to find me there, friend me, say hello. What do you got to plug?
All of my social medias, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, F that pod. Instagram is F that_pod.
And your other podcast.
It's called Fuck That, F *** K that, THAT. It's a true crime spooky podcast.
And it is awesome.
Thank you.
And I don't just say that because she's my co-host. I say that because it is a genuinely awesome, fun listen. So that's it, everyone. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.